Hi guys. So I'm going to do a quick, excuse me, I do have a cold. I'm going to do a quick little tutorial, I guess you call them, on how to do the polymer clay pens. Now, like I said before in my other video, that the pens have to be the round stick big pens. Hang on. I get prepared before I do these videos. Yeah, the round stick big pens in blue, black, or red. They have to be the solid colors. You cannot use any type of pens like these that are clear. These will melt badly. So, just so you know, I did some research and stuff, and I've done a whole bunch of pens. On the last video I showed you all the pens that I did, and I've sold a few. So anyway, let's get started. First, take off the lid. You do not need the lid. The lid will not fit back on after you've done the polymer clay, so you can just discard the lid. Remember to take out the ink piece and put that aside. You cannot put that in the oven. You'll have a really bad mess. I'm assuming. I haven't done it yet because I'm too smart for that. Toot my own horn. Sorry. But anyways, so you're left with this. You don't have to remove that end piece either. That can stay in there. So I've already flattened out a piece of clay. I'm just going to use black for now because I'm actually going to do the eyeballs and then I'm going to do some mica powders. And I picked out my colors already. I'm going to do a gold, a emerald green, and a purple. So what I do is I get the clay to the length of the pen or a little bit over, and I will slice one side so it is straight. I will then scoop my blade underneath a little bit, minus the hair, and I will just kind of fold it up the best you can. Just stick it to the pen. And I put my camera at a different angle because I don't have anything fancy other than my phone, so I'm hoping you guys can see this properly. And then you just roll it over and just kind of give it a couple taps where you'll see it will give you a little bit of a faint line. I cut either on the line or I'll just go underneath it a little bit and slice that off. And helps if you slice it with the wrong or the right side of the blade, and just take that off and a little bit and roll it. So there I ended up with that. I'm hoping you can see that. Okay, so then you put your joints together here and just work them in, work it together so it sticks together. Now make sure you know which end is your end. This is the pen end. This is the top end, I guess. That's where the pen goes in. So we want to just kind of put that together. I just chop off the little bit of the excess because I don't really need a lot at the end. And just work that together nicely. And then just smooth out your joint. So you don't see where it's together. Now, I'm not really too concerned on this one being super smooth and even on the way around. But like I showed you the lighter cases, you can lightly roll it. And excuse my sniffles. Lightly roll it. Do not put too much pressure on it because then what happens is it distorts a little bit. And you can end up getting a bunch of air pockets in there. But if you do end up getting an air pocket in there, basically just take a pointy tool or your X-Acto knife and just poke a hole and just kind of push the air out and then try and put it back together. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, try not to. But yeah, so just smooth it all together. And I just like to roll it just gently just to help the smoothing process of it all. In the end, I kind of roll bit to get it where I want it to be. And that's not quite closed. Okay, so then this end where the pen goes in, I can see where it is. So I just cut off the excess. And now I just work by pushing it onto the pen itself while smoothing out that connection piece where the two pieces meet. And I just kind of take my fingers and push it together. Then I kind of feel where the end is and cut that piece off. Now see what I mean by you're not going to get that lid on because of the width of the clay. And that's okay. Don't always need the lid. And I just get it to where I'm okay with it. And work it a little bit more because sometimes you end up taking a little bit off. Hang on one sec. I just gotta grab my nose drips. Excuse me. Oh dear. Excuse me. Okay. And that looks good enough. Okay, so now, depending on what you want to do, you could sculpt something on here. You could add pieces to here. Whatever your little heart desires. I will show you the eyeballs. The eyes, the glass eyes that I use. I have some more coming in. I'm almost out. So, I know they have a sticky back on the back of it. I don't bother taking it off because you don't need to. So, I'm going to give this guy a bright one and a green one, I think. Some of them do have, like I had a whole bunch there. Some of them didn't match. Actually, I'm going to do this one a multi one. So, I'm just going to start by putting an eye at the top, and I just push it just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, I've got these clay pieces from cutting off, and I don't do this exactly, but I will take, not that piece, but I will just cut a couple pieces here, and I just kind of shape them and push down the sharp edges a little bit just so they're not as, and I'm hoping you guys can see this. So I'm not sure if you can zoom in on it or not. And then I just lay this piece over the top of the eye and push it down. So then you end up with something like this. Okay, and then another piece. You don't have to do the bottom. I've seen some eyes that they don't do the bottoms. I always do the bottoms because it actually holds the eye in. And then just fold that one underneath there like that. And then I take my little tool here, this one. Don't ask me what they're called. And because this has got some red on it from the other clay, let's take some rubbing alcohol that I have in this big squirt bottle, and I clean it because I don't want that transferring. I'm not sure if you'll see it on the black, but lighter colors you'll end up transferring those colors onto it, and you don't want that. Should be good. So then you just take it, and I have to hold it down here because I can't see, and I'm hoping you guys can see. But you just take your little tool and you just work the clay into the clay on the pen so that it just blends in. It's actually quite easy. So you just blend it in until you can't really see where the edges of the clay were. And I'm not too worried about my fingerprints on this one. This is what annoys me with clay. And it's not fingerprints, it's your gloves, your wrinkles of your gloves and stuff. But actually I want this one all wrinkled. It helps give it more detail. When I get all the eyes on it and stuff, it kind of makes it look all wrinkly, like. So I'm okay with that. And then sometimes, if you don't, I just like to round off the eyes a little bit there so they're not so square looking. So there we go. One eye. So I'm going to do a multiple eyes on here, and then I'm going to brush on. I just basically use paint brushes, and I just brush on the mica powder and I blend them and do all that. I do all that and then bake them. So then when it comes out of the oven, this is the end I was talking about where you put the pen in. Sometimes when you go get the pen and you go put it in, it's not going to go in. I'm not sure. It doesn't look distorted or anything to me, but I think just because of the clay cooking, it might push it in a little bit. So basically, I will come back. Well, no, because I don't want to make a million videos. So, and I don't know how to edit or anything on my phone. I am not tech savvy when it comes to that. So basically, I just take my little drill, the one that had the sanding on, and I take that out, and I have this with this little bit in here, this drill bit. And what I'll do is I'll just take this and go inside the hole and push it around the edge as it's going, and it actually will pull out or a little bit of the plastic or whatever. I'll go in circles and then kind of up and down a little bit, and that until, and I'll do that for a little bit, and then take my pen, try and push it in. Sometimes it'll go in, but you won't get the top part in because this top part is thicker than the ink part, right? So then I just keep doing that a little bit at a time because you don't want to go too overboard. And I'll just keep doing it in circles, up and down a little bit, and then of course putting it upside down, blowing on it, and then I'll come back and try and put it in. And once it goes in nicely, then you don't need to do anymore, and your pen will be finished. Unless you want to add resin to it. And then basically I showed you a video on how to resin everything. I just put a little bit of resin in a cup and go over it with the paintbrush, and then over with a lighter to pop it in bubbles. Make sure you got it all in the little crevices depending how detailed your work is. You can add things. I have tons and tons of charms of all sorts of stuff. The nail, I get a lot of my stuff off Temu. Actually, I get everything off of Temu. I've had no issues with any of the stuff I've gotten from there. But even the little nail charms and stuff are really good for stuff like this, little small pieces. I do have a bunch of stuff coming in today, actually. I have some spikes, and stuff, so I'll come back and show you guys that after, because I want to do a couple of these lighter cases with the spikes and stuff, and the earring or the nose rings and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's basically how you do the pen. You could put this on your tray and put it in the toaster oven. Put a tinfoil piece over your piece, or your piece is going to burn in spots, because they are a lot higher than earrings. And they tend, because the toaster ovens are so shallow. If you're just putting in a regular oven, you don't have to. You can if you want, but I didn't have any issues by not covering them. So, yeah. So that's how you do the pen. My next one, I'm going to go look for shot glasses. I want to do some shot glasses and see how that turns out. But when I get them, I'll show you guys how to do those too. Anyways, it's been really great sharing this with you guys. It's a lot. They're a lot of fun to make. So I'm hoping you guys will have fun making them too. And hopefully you guys will show the rest of us your creations. Okay, thanks.